Hi there, this is Tata, and welcome to its Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Sunday, August 27, 2023, and today I will be talking about AEW All In London. Well, I honestly thought tonight's show was fantastic. We had great matches back to back, but let's start with what happened on 0 Hour. So there was a special guest in attendance, and it was none other than Mercedes Moné, or as we all knew her, Sasha Banks. Now, they showed her on camera, and according to Fightful Select, this caused natural suspicion that she would be going to AEW, but Fightful Select can confirm that there have been recent conversations between two sides, and she's super open to appearing, with one source even showing heavy optimism that the two sides will be working together. So there you have it. So that's So that's why she was shown on camera. Okay. So, and they showed her throughout the night sporadically, and the commentary even mentioned her after the women's match, which is what we're going to talk about. So, the women's match was a four-way for the AEW Women's Championship match. It was Hikaru Shida versus Saraya versus Toni Storm versus Dr. Britt Baker, D.M.D. And Saraya came out to Queen's We Will Rock You, and she came out alongside with her family. Now, I feel like the placement of the women's match didn't do them any favors. It wasn't a bad match. I actually liked the match. But I felt like, considering all the matches that came before, I should say, it was going to be a tough act to follow those matches. I honestly think the women should have opened. But some spots in this match, you had Toni Storm accidentally hitting Saraya's mom, who was at ringside. I think Ruby will go to Chris Statlander's side. Okay. And this upsets Saraya, because afterwards, she was not happy with Toni Storm. And there's also this one spot where both Saraya and Toni Storm were trying to pin Dr. Britt Baker. Ruby Soho came out and she tried to talk some sense into Toni Storm, but Toni Storm wasn't having it. She attacked Ruby. This match was all about Saraya. This was all about her and having her moment in her home country in front of her family. And she is victorious. She spray painted Toni Storm with the in her eyes, and she hit her with the nightcap. And then at the end, commentary made note that Mercedes being in the crowd, and they kind of question what that can do for the women's division. So, happy for Saraya. She got her moment in her home country in front of her family after being told that she could possibly never wrestle again. Dissolved Outcast. Yeah, the Outcast seemed to be dissolved by here. So if I do have a criticism, is if you're going to have Saraya turn on Toni Storm, why did you take the belt off Toni Storm in the first place? You should have just kept the belt on Toni Storm and then done the spot. So the booking leading up to this was not the best booking, but we'll see where they go with Saraya. Again, they did mention Mercedes Moné, so maybe we might get something there with Mercedes Moné and Saraya. But curious to see what they do with Saraya as champion, and I'm very happy for her. She certainly deserved it. Now let's talk about Adam Cole, baby, and MJF. So I want to talk about the 0 Hour match. It was for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. It was Better Than You, baby, versus Aussie Open. So I was so curious to see what was going to happen in this match, because I thought that this match would affect the outcome of the main event. And oh my God, Aussie Open attacked MJF and Adam Cole before the match even started. MJF hit that freaking kangaroo kick, and the crowd was cheering for it. And we got the one spot where the double clothesline. the chemistry between Adam Cole and MJF has been amazing. And I was like, my heart was pounding. I was like, oh my God, is MJF going to leave Adam Cole hanging? Is Adam Cole going to leave MJF hanging? Because there was this spot up matches where it seemed like MJF was going to be the one taking the beating and the most damage in this tag match, but that did not happen. So, Better Than You, baby, are the new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. And like there's at the end of the match, you have Adam Cole grabbing the title, grabbing the AEW World title, and he's just looking at it and he hands it to MJF. And then, very interestingly enough, Adam Cole grabs his ROH tag title and he just leaves. So it was a good way to kick off zero hour. So this main event, we're gonna talk about this main freaking event. Adam Cole coming out with Naruto trunks. And so MJF has the same mask that he had at AEW All Out 2022. He came out in a throne in that mask. And one of the things I like is that both of them go under the ring and they grab the Better Than You baby shirts and they each put it on. MJF doing the strut, and then he does the whole Ravishing McRude. You know, he gives his hand to Adam Cole. Adam Cole shakes it. And then MJF is telling Adam Cole sportsmanship. And when he does, he gives Adam Cole a thumb to the eye. And Adam Cole, you know, at one point pulls poor Bryce Brimsberg in front of him. And MJF is kind of like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, Adam Cole gouges MJF's eye. You know, so there's this one spot where like MJF wants to do a dive, but he doesn't want it because, you know, he doesn't do dives. And the crowd is just chanting for him to dive. So he dives and he takes out Adam Cole on the outside. There were so many false finishes in this match. I kid you not. Like, the one thing I did like was you could tell MJF kind of like struggled to hit Adam Cole, because there was this one spot where he cleared the announce table and he attempted to do a tombstone pile driver, but he just couldn't bring himself to do it. He could not bring himself to do it. And I think it's very interesting that Adam Cole did not hesitate to do a tombstone pile driver to MJF on the announce table. And commentary makes note of the fact that the announce table had still support on the desk, which is why it didn't break. And even the crowd was chanting asshole, because, you know, Adam Cole is the one doing the most damage to MJF. I actually really like that story that they were telling. It's like if MJF is officially a babyface, they did a really good job at getting him over as a babyface. They had back and forth pinning predicaments. And then the first half of the match, like, you had Adam Cole doing a Canadian destroyer to MJF, but he kicks out and MJF kicks Adam Cole and both men go down. They do a double clothesline and they have a double pinning predicament and the match ends in a draw. Oh my God. I was like, they're not going to do this, right? They're not really going to do this. So then Cole, he asked for 5 more minutes and MJF says no, which is kind of like a throwback to their first match. And MJF says that 5 more minutes is not enough. They're going to keep going until they have a winner. And so the match restarts and it's basically sudden death. The poor ref gets knocked down during this match. And there's this one spot where they're tossing the chair back and forth to each other. I guess they're trying to do the Eddie Guerrero trick. And so Adam Cole drops. And then MJF puts the chair on his head and he drops too. And once the ref gets up, you know, this is MJF and he attempts to do a roll-up. He hit Adam Cole with his own heat seeker. I was like, oh my God. Adam Cole with that straight jacket German suplex on MJF on the ring apron. When he hit that Panama Sunrise to MJF on the floor, I was like, it's over, isn't it? Another spot that I like in this match was there's this when they go back inside the ring, Adam Cole attempts to do a Panama Sunrise to MJF, but he moves and the ref is the one who takes the hit. And Adam Cole's just looking at him like, oh my God, because he's shocked that he hit the ref. Bryce Ramsberg really took a beating in this match. So after that, like you have MJF, he pulled out that dynamite diamond ring and he has tears because he can't bring himself to hit Adam Cole with it. So out comes Roderick Strong, who is still rocking that neck brace, despite the fact that it's been like what, a month since he got attacked by Samoa Joe. And he low blows MJF. And meanwhile, the ref is still down. And Adam Cole then hits a Panama Sunrise. He drops the knee pad and he hits a boom to MJF. I thought it was over right there. Like, I really thought Adam Cole had it. The ref, since he's got taken out, he's slowly crawling. He makes the count, but he's still, shaken up from being knocked out. So he makes the count. And it's not enough. MJF kicks out. You got Roderick Strong like throwing the title to Adam Cole, but he can't bring himself to do it. And that's the thing that I really like about this, that they were telling that story with them. And you can hear Roderick Strong like yelling at Adam Cole that he's his best friend. And like Cole took off that "Better Than You, Baby" shirt. And he's just standing there with the title, but he decides last minute not to hit MJF with it. And so he throws it. Roderick Strong leaves, and then MJF with the inside cradle. And so MJF is victorious, and he successfully retains his AEW World title match. And then, like, you can see MJF tell Adam Cole that the people still love him. It could have been either one of them, but he got lucky. And he grabs the ROH tag titles. He brings them to Cole, but Cole tosses them. And then, like, he gets mad because he calls Cole a fake piece of shit and accuses him of never caring about him. So, like, then MJF, turns his back and he encourages Adam Cole to hit him with the title. And even Roger comes back and tells Adam Cole to do it, but he doesn't do it. And so they hug. Adam Cole raises MJF's hand, and then you can see the Kingdom's holding Roderick Strong back. And that is how AEW closes out their show. So honestly, this match was really, really good. And I like the story. So it's interesting that they made them ROH tag team champions and MJF beat Adam Cole. So the way I think that this is going to go, you're probably going to have the Kingdom challenge for those ROH tag titles, or maybe Roderick Strong is going to challenge for those tag titles. But I think that the ultimate split between MJF and Adam Cole is when they lose those ROH tag titles. And that's the way they should have gone with the beginning. They should have won those tag titles, and then you built to the eventual rematch, and then they turn on each other. But it seems like they wanted to extend the story a little bit. So, and MJF is a double champion. So I can only imagine Adam Cole being upset that he lost the title, but also happy that when him and his bro Chacho are ROH tag champions. So I cannot wait to see where they go with this storyline. Okay, so also on 0 Hour, we had the FTW title matches, Jack Perry versus Hook. And Hook was just like walked up to the ramp and he attacked Jack Perry. He Hook suplexed Jack Perry on that limo. And Jack Perry, he taps the glass on the limo and he says, "It's real glass, cry me a river," which is a shot to CM Punk. That Fisherman Buster that Hook did to Jack Perry on the limo was, oh my God. And it seemed at one point like Jack Perry was going to do coast to coast, but he flipped off the crowd instead. And, Hook won by submission after he hit the rum to Jack Perry. I kind of thought they were going to do more things with Jack Perry as FTW champion. They could have done a whole legend killer gimmick where he was just destroying these ECW legends. But hopefully this means that Jack Perry is going to move on to bigger and better things. So the main card kicked off with the Real World Championship match, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. Now, this was an interesting choice to start the show off. I mean, it was a really great match, but I'm just surprised they went with this. Like I said earlier, I think the women's match should have opened because their place on the card didn't help. So there is this one spot where like Punk, he went over the rope and he botched, like he slipped and he fell, but he recovered pretty quickly. Like Samoa Joe threw him into the announce table and this busted him open. CM Punk channeling his inner Hulk Hogan by doing the whole ear thing and then the leg drop, and then Samoa Joe doing the point to Punk. Now, the commentary did make note that this would be the last time Joe and Punk would face each other, so that kind of told me right there and then who was going to win this match. And it was no surprise it ended up being CM Punk after he hit the Avalanche Pepsi plunge to Samoa Joe. So I thought this was a great way to kick off All In. And the match that followed definitely did a good job at following that match. So it was a trios match. It was the Golden Elite versus Bullet Club Gold and Konosuke Takeshita. So, like, when the match started, all the men confronted each other in the center of the ring. And, like, Adam Page and Juice Robinson started this match. You know, the Golden Lovers did a double leapfrog to Jay White. The ref at one point, poor ref, like, lost control of this match. The Guns, they were at ringside, so they got involved. And at some point, like, Jay White is left alone, and it's a 3-on-1 handicap match. And, Omega and Takeshita go at it when they're alone in the ring. Takeshita doing a Blue Thunder Bomb to Kenny Omega. And, like, Don Callis was on commentary for this. Poor Jay White, the Golden Elite, oh my bad, excuse me. Takeshita did a jumping knee to Ibushi. Omega did the jumping knee to Jay White. And he also did one to Juice. And then Omega did the V-trigger to Jay White. But see, after that, like, Konosuke Takeshita rolled up Kenny Omega until Bullet Club and Konosuke Takeshita were victorious. Now, I don't know if it was just me, but it seemed like the crowd was kind of silent and there was a bit of a delay reaction after that. I mean, the match was great, but I think a lot of people were surprised that the Bullet Club Gold and Konosuke Takeshita won. I think a lot of people expect the Golden Elite to be victorious here. Based on this, I feel like there's going to might be, like, the rivalry is not over between them. We get the AEW World Tag Team title match, FTR versus the Young Bucks 3. This was a rubber match. And I really like some spots in this match. One spot that I liked was the lariats that FTR did to the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks doing the Shatter Machine to FTR. Then FTR doing the BT trigger to Matt Jackson, and they kissed him on the cheek. The Bucks attempting to do the BT trigger on Dax, but they accidentally collided. Like, this match also had so many false finishes. It had me at the edge of my seat because I did not know who was going to win this match. So the Bucks threw the BT trigger to Cash, but that's still not enough. Like, this was like Full Gear 2020 all over again. FTR finally hit the Shatter Machine to Nick Jackson, and FTR were victorious. They extended their hands to the Young Bucks, but the Young Bucks walked away. So they weren't happy, but this was an incredible match. We had 3 back-to-back bangers, or as Sheamus would say, banger after banger after banger after banger. So, oh my God, I can't even figure out what match of the night was. We got the Stadium Stampede match. Is the Blackpool Combat Club versus best friends Penta, Cero, Miedo, Orange Cassidy, and Eddie Kingston. Like, Eddie Kingston just came out and he charged at Claudio. Like, the Blackpool Combat Club had, like, these trench coats and these sunglasses that they were wearing. They came out with, like, a bag. It did not take long for Moxley to start bleeding. I mean, he bled very quickly. There is this one spot where, like, Penta, he took out these, like, sticks and he stuck them on Jon Moxley's head. I was like, oh my God. What the heck? And, Santana flipped off Penta. I wonder, there was this one spot, that happened like way on when they were outside of the ring after Penta got taken out. He came back and he was Penta Oscuro. And so he does this one spot with Santana and they climb this ladder and the ladder breaks and then the camera moves away and then all of a sudden Santana and Penta are on that ladder. So I feel like that was a botch. But anywho, Penta does a sunset flip power bomb off the ladder through the table to Santana. Like Yuta is in the middle of the ring while the best friends hug. There was this one spot where Yuta tried to use the screwdriver on Chuck Taylor, but he moved, so he got stuck on the turnbuckle. So Claudio does giant swing to Orange Cassidy. Ortiz and Trent go through a table. So Orange Cassidy duct tapes his hand and he covers it in glass. Now, up until this point, he had hit 3 orange punches to Claudio, and that was not enough to finish him off. So like Kingston comes running back down to the ring because he was busted open with the barbed wire steel chair, and he put Moxley through a table, and with the 4th orange punch, Orange Cassidy takes out Claudio, and remember it was full of glass, and so Orange Cassidy was victorious here. But it was an awesome match. Really, don't have too many complaints. I actually don't have any complaints. Okay. We get the tag team coffin match. Christian Cage and Swerve Strickland versus Darby Allin and Sting. Sting coming out to his OWCW theme, Metallica Seeks and Destroyed. Like they played this package beforehand where like Sting was dressed as Jack the Ripper. And then he came out with his Joker Sting makeup. This is a good match. Like Luchasaurus came out to help Christian Cage and Swerve Strickland. And then Nick Wayne came out. Nick Wayne hitting Luchasaurus with the skateboard onto the back. Luchasaurus ended up carrying away Nick Wayne. Darby Allin attempted to do a coffin drop, but he landed on the actual coffin. Christian Cage hits Sting with his own bat. They put Sting in the coffin, but then Swerve Strickland threw the bat in there, so that's how Sting was able to like prevent the coffin from closing. And then we have Sting doing a scorpion death drop to Swerve Strickland on the coffin, and then Darby Allin doing the coffin drop to Swerve Strickland, and Darby Allin and Sting were victorious here. So really good match. I wonder if that means the feud between Darby Allin and Swerve Strickland is over after this. We get Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho. Absolutely love Chris Jericho's entrance here. He paid homage to Freddie Mercury by doing the Ayo at the beginning. And just like his whole entrance was freaking phenomenal. He came out with Sammy Guevara. And like Don Callis was on commentary for this. And like he said, he promised Will Ospreay Chris Jericho's head on a silver platter. Jericho, flipped off the crowd. Will Ospreay flipped off Chris Jericho here. That standing shooting star press that Will Ospreay did to Chris Jericho was awesome. That top rope Hurricanrana was another favorite spot of mine. I really like the back-to-back code breakers that Chris Jericho hit to Will Ospreay. So there's this one spot where Don Callis, like, he had seen enough. And, like, he caused a distraction. And this allowed Sammy Guevara to hit Will Ospreay with the bat. And, like, he was legit out for a second. And once he woke up from that, he hit the Spanish Fly to Chris Jericho. Then Chris Jericho hit the Codebreaker and a cutter. It took 2 Stormbreakers and plus double underhooks for Will Ospreay to finally defeat Chris Jericho. And so Will Ospreay wins, and he has now beaten Kenny Omega, Konosuke Okada, and now Chris Jericho. And, like, at the end, like, Sammy Guevara was trying to get the audience to show respect for Chris Jericho, and just Jericho was not having it. He did not seem happy. So, on Dynamite, Matt Menard and Angelo Parker did warn Sammy Guevara that maybe he was blinded by friendship. So we got to see where they're going with this. Maybe we'll finally get that feud between Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho. Seems like Chris Jericho might turn on Sammy, or Sammy might turn on Chris Jericho. Okay. Nigel McGuinness announcing that there's 81,035 fans in attendance, which is a new record. We get the Trios Championship match, the House of Black versus the Acclaimed and Badass Billy Gunn. So, House of Black coming out with the Blue Lanterns as a tribute to Bray Wyatt. There is this one spot with Julia Hart. She stopped Billy Gunn, and then she came into the ring and she slapped him. Now he's just standing there like looking at her like, what? And so he tells her to suck it. And then poor Julia Hart gets the scissor me timbers. Now, she deserved that because she's always getting involved in matches. And once again, they showed Mercedes Moné on screen. Now, I don't know why they didn't show her doing the women's match and they showed her doing this match. But obviously, it might mean something that they're showing her on screen. And they talked about earlier, Fightful Select did report that they're having conversations. So, we got House of Black does a 3-headed Hydra to Anthony Bowens. And the match is still not over. Brody King accidentally hitting Malachi Black with the chain. Buddy Matthews takes 3 Famousers from Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, and Billy Gunn. And that match is still not enough. Julia Hart didn't learn her lesson. She pulled the ref out of the ring to stop the count. And it takes an arrival, the mic drop to Brody King, a Famouser, and then another arrival and another mic drop, and then all 3, the Acclaimed and Badass Billy Gunn, pinned Brody King, and they are the new Trios champions. Again, they showed Mercedes at the end of this match, and the House of Black hand the Trios titles to the Acclaimed and Badass Billy Gunn. So overall, I'm going to stop my review there because after this was the AEW World Title match, which I already talked about. So overall, I thought tonight's show was actually really good. I don't have I don't have complaints at all about the show. It's really hard to pick a match of the night, but all the matches were amazing, honestly. So if I had to rate tonight's show, I'd give it a Sean Spears perfect 10 because I enjoy the show. There's nothing I can complain about, but with that being said, you guys, that concludes this review. Thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I'll see you guys later tonight after Impact's Emergence. Bye.